The nightmare always started the same way. Maya Cross woke at 3 in the morning in a room that wasn't hers in a house that would never be home, with her father's voice still echoing in her skull. Not the strong voice she remembered from
Stay with
childhood,
me.
the
Help is
broken
here.
one,
Hurts
the
bad, don't
drunk
leave.
one, the
Come on,
last
I'm right
one.
here.
It was an
Maya,
ambush.
baby, I need to tell you something.
How much further?
She'd been 15 then, 6 months
Almost
ago,
there.
lying in
Hang in
bed,
there.
scrolling through college websites she'd never attend. Her father calling from Afghanistan at 2 in the morning, his time, which meant he was either in trouble or in a bottle. Dad, you're drunk. Go to sleep. I trained them. His words slurred together, thick with whiskey and something worse. Guilt, maybe, or fear. I put rifles in their hands. Children, like you. I made monsters. She'd sat up, then phone pressed hard against her ear. What are you talking about? Project Blowback. If something happens to me, don't trust anyone, especially not in the line cut. 6 hours later, 2 men in dark suits knocked on her door. CIA notification team, David Cross killed in Taliban ambush, condolences, arrangements, questions about next of kin. She hadn't cried, not then, not at the funeral with the flag and the 21 guns, not during the weeks that followed when the same men in dark suits suggested protective custody might be wise given her father's work, given the enemies he'd made. She cried now sometimes in this room in West Virginia that smelled like someone else's life, but only at 3 in the morning when the nightmare came, when she heard his voice breaking apart, when she remembered that she'd told him to go to sleep and he had forever. Maya sat up. Moonlight cut through cheap curtains, painting prison bars across her floor. Her laptop sat on the desk screen, dark but not sleeping. Never sleeping. The files were still there. The ones she'd found 3 months ago when grief turned to suspicion, when she'd hacked his cloud backup looking for photos of her mother and found hell instead. Training manuals. Not for American soldiers. For assets in Syria, Yemen, Pakistan. Teenagers holding rifles, her father standing beside them like a proud coach. Document headers stamped with words that made her stomach turn. Project Blowback, compartmented access required, names of trainers all crossed out in red as operations ended or people died. Her father's name, crossed out 6 months ago, replacement name written below it, Randall Voss. A knock at the door made her flinch. The door opened before she could answer. Agent Reeves stepped in, dressed like she'd never been to bed, like 3 in the morning was just another appointment in her calendar. White woman, 40s, with the kind of face that looked pleasant until you noticed the eyes. Cold eyes. Calculating eyes. You're up, Reeves said. Good. We have a job. Maya's voice came out flat. I didn't agree to any job. Reeves crossed to the window, looked out at the dark woods surrounding the safe house. You agreed when you decided to keep breathing, Maya. We've been very patient. Roof over your head. Food, education, protection from people who want you silent. Now it's time to earn that protection. And if I refuse, Reeves turned and something almost like sympathy crossed her face. Almost. Then we'll have to reconsider our assessment. Security risks don't get protective custody. They get other arrangements. Not a threat, a fact, like saying water is wet or bullets kill. What kind of job, Maya asked, because refusing wasn't really an option, and they both knew it. Reeves smiled. Get dressed. I'll explain downstairs. She left the door open, watching, always watching. Maya, dressed in the dark, pulled on clothes that felt like a costume now. Jeans, sweatshirt, normal teenage girl clothes for a girl who wasn't normal anymore, if she ever had been. She caught her reflection in the mirror above the dresser. 16 years old. Black girl from Atlanta with her mother's eyes and her father's curse. The curse of being good at things people shouldn't be good at. Things like making bullets fly true at distances that turn human beings into mathematics problems. Range plus wind plus elevation plus the Coriolis effect of the earth spinning beneath the shot. Her father had taught her that, had taught her everything really, because after her mother died in a car accident when Maya was 8, shooting became the language they spoke together. Now she wondered what else he'd taught without telling her. What other lessons were hidden in the equations? She went downstairs. The safe house was comfortable, which made it worse somehow. Comfortable cage, living room with a couch she'd never chosen, kitchen with food she hadn't bought. 2 security contractors, Burke and Martinez, sitting at the dining table playing cards. They looked up when she entered, nodded politely, went back to their game. Professional babysitters who never forgot she was the job. Reeves waited in the basement. Maya hadn't been down here before. The door had always been locked. Now it stood open, revealing stairs descending into artificial light. She followed Reeves down into what looked like someone's rec room, except rec rooms didn't usually have 50-meter shooting lanes built into them. A table held a single rifle, Macmillan TAC 338, same model her father had used. Scope already mounted, and Maya noticed already zeroed. Someone had test-fired this weapon recently. Someone who knew what they were doing. "Show me you remember," Reeves said. Maya's hands shook when she picked up the rifle. 6 months since she'd touched a gun. 6 months since the funeral where they'd given her the folded flag, since the move to this house, since her life became something that happened to her instead of something she lived. The rifle felt heavy, heavier than it should, like it weighed what it represented. The range extended into darkness, but she could see the target rail system, automated and precise. Reeves pressed a button. A target appeared at the far end. 800 meters, the display said. She could hear ventilation systems creating unpredictable wind currents in the enclosed space. "Whenever you're ready," Reeves said. Maya shouldered the rifle, felt muscle memory fight against revulsion. Her father's voice in her head, the teaching voice from before everything broke. Breath control, natural point of aim, press don't pull. She fired. The scope showed the impact, 4 inches left of center. Reeves made a sound that might have been disappointment or satisfaction. "Maybe you're not your father's daughter, after all." Something hot and ugly flared in Maya's chest. "Good," she wanted to say. "I don't want to be his daughter. I don't want to be good at this." But her hands were already adjusting the rifle, calculating the wind, finding the correction. Second shot, dead center. Third shot, fourth, fifth, all dead center. Reeves nodded slowly. "We need you for an extraction operation." She pulled a tablet from her bag, called up tactical maps. "Appalachian Mountains, 60 miles from here. Abandoned mining complex that looked like something from the Cold War. Red X marked a location, deep in the hills." "Target is Randall Voss," Reeves said, and Maya's stomach dropped. "CIA asset turned informant against a domestic militia group. Sovereign citizens grabbed him 3 days ago. He has intel on a terror plot. Timeline is 48 hours, and we need him alive." Maya stared at the screen, at the name, at the face that matched the photos in her father's files. "You said he's an asset. Those files I found said he's a trainer." "Which is it?" Reeves's expression didn't change, but something shifted in her eyes. "Recalculation. He was a trainer. Now he's cooperating. The militia has him in that mining complex. Weather's turning bad. We have a 24-hour window to get him out." "Why me? FBI has snipers." "Because the terrain is brutal and visibility will be under 100 meters, and you can make shots in conditions that would sideline anyone else." Reeves paused. "Your father taught you that." "My father's dead," Maya wanted to say. "My father trained child soldiers and called in airstrikes on villages and died with secrets still burning in his throat." But she said, "When do we leave?" "Tonight. Pack light." 12 hours later, Maya sat in a civilian-marked helicopter cutting through pre-dawn darkness, surrounded by men who didn't want her there. 8 FBI hostage rescue team operators. All male, all white except one, all looking at her like she was someone's daughter on Take Your Kid to Work Day, which she supposed wasn't entirely wrong. The team leader, Agent Kowalski, had the kind of face that looked permanently tired. Polish-American ex-Army Ranger, mid-40s with a graying beard and eyes that had seen too much. He'd pulled Reeves aside on the tarmac before boarding. Maya had heard his voice even over the helicopter turbines. "This is your long-range specialist." "She's a child." Reeves had responded with something Maya couldn't hear, but Kowalski's expression when he climbed aboard made his feelings clear. He sat across from Maya now, studying tactical maps on a tablet, occasionally glancing at her like she was a problem he couldn't solve. No one laughed. No one made jokes. They just looked uncomfortable the way people do when they're forced to include someone they know doesn't belong. Except one, Agent Daniels. Black man, early 30s, quieter than the others. He sat near the cockpit watching Maya with something that looked like pity, which somehow felt worse than the doubt. The helicopter's interior smelled like hydraulic fluid and old coffee. Red light from the tactical displays painted everyone's faces in shades of emergency. Maya wore borrowed gear that didn't quite fit. Plate carrier too big, helmet loose. The only thing that fit was the rifle. The TAC 338 she'd shot in the basement, now slung across her back in a custom harness that distributed weight across her shoulders. Kowalski finally spoke, addressing the team through the internal comms. "Mining complex, 3 main structures. Insertion point 2 miles east, we hike in. Overwatch position is a rocky outcrop 900 meters from the compound. Weather's going to be bad. No air support after we're on the ground. No drone coverage. We extract the asset, we exfil, we go home. He pulled up more detailed maps. Maya leaned forward to study them. Something felt wrong immediately. The complex sat in a valley surrounded by higher ground. The buildings were marked as structurally unsound reports of collapsed tunnels and unstable floors. The single access road could be easily blocked. The location was far from known sovereign citizen operating areas. Why would they choose this location? Maya asked. 7 faces turned to look at her. Above your pay grade contractor, Kowalski said. I'm just saying the intel doesn't make tactical sense. If they wanted to hide someone, there are better places. If they wanted to defend this as a death trap, maybe they're not tactical geniuses, one of the other operators said. Jackson, the name tape read, Southern accent. Maybe they're just rednecks with guns. Daniels spoke up quietly. She's got a point. Sovereign citizens are paranoid but not stupid. This location is odd. Kowalski's jaw tightened. Orders are orders. We extract the asset, we exfil, we go home. Simple. Nothing about this felt simple to Maya, but she didn't push. She'd already said more than a 16-year-old contractor had any right to say. The helicopter began its descent. 4:47 in the morning, temperature dropping, snow already falling. The pilot's voice crackled through the comms. 2 hours, people. After that, I can't guarantee I can get back in. The cargo door opened. Warm. Cold air hit like a fist. Maya grabbed her rifle and followed the team out into darkness and snow. They moved through the forest in tactical formation, Maya at the rear. Standard procedure. Keep the contractor where they could see her, where she couldn't cause problems. The trees were dense here, old growth that blocked what little light the pre-dawn offered. Snow fell steady and silent, building on branches, muffling sound. 90 minutes of trekking. No one spoke except through hand signals. Professional operators who knew their jobs. But there was tension in the formation. Not the normal tension of a high-risk op. Something else, like they sensed what Maya sensed. That wrongness, that feeling of walking into something that didn't add up. By 5:45, they reached the overwatch position, rocky outcrop overlooking the valley. 900 meters to the main building, just like the maps showed. Maya sat up prone behind rocks, rifle on bipod scope to her eye. The compound looked even worse in person than in satellite photos. 3 buildings all showing signs of decay. Structure Alpha, the main building, had a partially collapsed roof. Structure Bravo listed to one side like a drunk. Structure Charlie was half buried in an old slag heap. She switched to thermal imaging. Problem 1, 6 heat signatures in Building Alpha. Intel had said 12 to 15. Actual Sierra 7. I count 6 hostiles, not 15. Kowalski's voice came back. Confirm. Confirmed. 6 signatures all in Building Alpha. Intel could be wrong on numbers. Doesn't change mission. But it did change things. It changed everything. Because wrong intel meant someone was wrong or someone was lying, and Maya was starting to develop opinions about which. She scanned the other buildings. Bravo and Charlie showed 0 heat signatures, completely cold like no one had been there in weeks. She focused on Building Bravo, scanning window by window. 3rd floor, corner window, there. A glint, brief, gone, but unmistakable. Scope reflection. Her breath caught. Contact, sniper position building, Bravo 3rd floor, northwest corner. Silence on the radio, then Kowalski. You sure? Positive. Saw scope glint. Building Bravo was supposed to be abandoned. Maya ranged the position. 1,150 meters. Wind 15 miles per hour, gusting to 25. Heavy snow reducing visibility. Doable but hard, but that wasn't what made her hesitate. She zoomed in maximum magnification, waiting for another glimpse. There. Movement in the window, the sniper shifting position. And his angle was wrong. He wasn't covering the approaches, wasn't watching the forest where threats would come from. He was watching Building Alpha, where the hostage supposedly was. Like he was waiting for something to happen there. His angle is wrong, Maya said into the radio. He's not covering our approaches. He's watching Building Alpha, like he's waiting for something. Reeves's voice cut in sharp. What are you seeing, Sierra 7? I'm seeing a sniper whose job isn't perimeter security. His job is watching the hostage building. Long silence. Maya could hear wind in the rocks, could hear her own heartbeat, could hear something else too, the sound of pieces falling into wrong places. Then Reeves too controlled. Eliminate the threat, Sierra 7. That's a direct order. Something in her voice. Too urgent, too prepared. Like she'd expected this. If I shoot, we lose surprise, Maya said. The 6 hostiles will know we're here. Neutralize the sniper. Now! Kowalski's voice overrode her. Belay that! Sierra 7, hold fire. Something's not right. Then the radio went dead. Not static, not jamming, just dead, like someone had flipped a switch. Kowalski tried to reestablish. Command, this is Alpha 1. Radio check. Nothing. Command, do you copy? Silence. Daniel's voice quiet. We're cut off. Jamming, Jackson asked. Or deliberate, Daniel said. Maya's mind raced through the evidence. Intel numbers wrong, sniper in abandoned building, watching hostage location, Reeves too eager for the shot, radio cut exactly when questions started. Then she saw it. Through her scope, the door of Building Alpha opened. A man walked out, not running, not cautious, casual, like he was checking the weather. He looked up, directly at their position, like he knew exactly where they were, and waved. Contact, Maya said, voice tight. Individual exiting Building Alpha. He's waving at us. Kowalski looked through his binoculars. That's Voss, the asset. He doesn't look like a hostage. The words were barely out of Maya's mouth when the world exploded. Not from the compound, from behind them, below them. Charges planted under their position. Rock face erupting upward, the outcrop collapsing beneath them like the earth had decided it didn't want them anymore. Maya grabbed her rifle and rolled right as a boulder crashed through where she'd been lying. The world became a chaos of falling rock and snow and bodies tumbling down the slope. She hit the ground 40 feet down, a rifle intact radio, smashed to pieces on the rocks above. Gunfire erupted. She could hear it even through the ringing in her ears. Could hear men shouting. Could hear the tactical precision of suppressing fire. She crawled to a snowbank, looked up through her scope. The 6 heat signatures from Building Alpha were emerging, moving with professional coordination, fire and maneuver. Bounding overwatch, not militia, not sovereign citizens, contractors, professional contractors. And Voss stood in the compound courtyard, directing them with hand signals, like a conductor leading an orchestra of violence. Not hostage, commander. This wasn't a rescue operation. This was an execution. And Maya didn't know who the target was. The FBI team, her, both. Above her, gunfire intensified. She could hear Daniels' voice, distant and desperate. Man down, Jackson's hit. Maya had seconds to decide. Climb back up and help, exposing herself to become a target. Or find a new position, leave them to die while she survived. Her father's voice came to her, then clear, as if he was standing beside her in the snow. First rule, Maya, you can't save everyone. Save yourself first. Dead heroes save no one. But another voice came too. Fainter. Her mother's voice from childhood, from before the accident, from when life made sense. Baby, being strong doesn't mean being alone. Maya scanned the terrain through her scope. Old mine entrance 100 meters west. Collapsed but providing cover. She could make it if she moved now. She low-crawled through snow, dragging the rifle. Behind her, an explosion. Grenade. The team's position was being overrun. She reached the mine entrance, crawled inside, dark and cold and smelling of rot. Timbers creaking under their own weight. This whole place could come down any second. But from here, she had an angle on the compound. Could see contractors advancing on the team's position. Could see one contractor moving to flank Kowalski. 850 meters. Maya lined up the shot, hesitated. If she shot, they'd know she was here. She'd become the target. If she didn't, Kowalski died. She thought about her father, about Reeves, about being in a cage that looked like a bedroom, about having choices that weren't really choices. She thought about the files on her laptop, the faces of teenagers holding rifles, the word blowback stamped on documents that smelled like classified lies. She thought about the questions she'd been asking herself for 6 months. Who am I if I'm not my father's daughter? Maya pulled the trigger. The rifle kicked against her shoulder. Through the scope, she watched the bullet's flight, watched it arc through snow and wind, watched it hit the contractor. Not center mass, shoulder. Wind had pushed it right. The contractor dropped, not dead, just wounded. But now they knew she was out there. Return fire came immediately, rounds punching through rotted timbers. She crawled deeper into the mine as wood splintered above her, and through the chaos, through the sound of gunfire and men dying, she heard something else. Radio chatter, carrying through the terrain somehow. Kowalski's radio close enough that sound reached her even here. Reeves's voice, clear and cold. Alpha 1, this is Command. Status report. Kowalski breathing hard. Command, we're under fire. This was an ambush. Charges on our position. Hostiles are contractors. Voss is commanding them. This isn't a rescue. It's a setup. Copy that, Alpha 1. Unfortunate. A pause. Proceed to secondary objective. What's secondary objective? We need immediate exfil. Maya pressed herself against the mine wall, listening, not wanting to hear, needing to hear. Reeves's voice came back, and every word was a nail in a coffin that Maya suddenly realized had been built for her all along. Secondary objective is Sierra 7. Eliminate the contractor. Confirm termination. Extraction will be authorized upon completion. The world stopped. Silence on the radio. Then Kowalski's voice hollow. Say again. The Cross Girl knows too much about Project Blowback. She's a liability. Voss's primary objective. He's eliminating witnesses to blowback operations. You and your team are collateral damage. When Voss eliminates you all, we eliminate Voss, classify the entire operation, bury everyone under national security. Clean slate. Daniel's voice cut in. Command, this is Alpha 4. You're ordering us to execute a 16-year-old girl. I'm ordering you to eliminate a security risk who has access classified material that could compromise ongoing operations. Her age is irrelevant. Jesus Christ. Alpha 1, do you copy? Kowalski's voice, when it came back, sounded like something had broken inside him. I copy. Complete secondary objective. Extraction authorized after confirmation. Command out. Maya sat in the darkness of the mine rifle across her lap and understood. She wasn't here to help rescue anyone. She was here to be killed. The FBI team was just collateral. Voss was the weapon. Reeves was the hand holding it. And somewhere above all of them, someone had decided that Maya Cross knowing the truth was more dangerous than any terrorist. Her father had tried to tell her, in that last phone call, don't trust anyone, especially not the people who say they're protecting you. Footsteps in snow outside the mine. Heavy, careful, combat boots. Maya raised her rifle toward the entrance. A figure appeared, silhouetted against snow, gun lowered, bleeding from a leg wound. Daniels. They stared at each other across 10 feet of darkness. You heard, he said. It wasn't a question. All of it, Maya answered. He moved into the mine limping and sat against the opposite wall. I'm sorry about your father. I should have done more. Why are you here? Because Kowalski's deciding right now whether to follow orders or not. And if he follows orders, you and I are both dead. He doesn't know if he can trust me. I don't know if I can trust him. He looked at her. But you're the only person here who has no reason to keep me alive except that you're not like them. What makes you think that? He gestured toward the mine entrance with his rifle. That contractor you shot, 850 meters in a blizzard. You could have gone for a headshot. You aimed for center mass and the wind pushed it to shoulder. You wounded him. That's not what a killer does. That's what someone who still has a conscience does. Outside, the gunfire intensified. Kowalski's voice on someone's radio distant. Daniels, where are you? Daniels didn't answer, just kept looking at Maya. I've been waiting 2 years to prove Voss killed your father, he said. You've been waiting 6 months to understand why you're in a cage. We can die here separately, or we can survive together and burn everyone responsible. Maya thought about the nightmare, about her father's drunk confession, about the files on her laptop, about Reeves's voice saying her age was irrelevant. How? She asked. We split their attention. I rejoin the team. They need firepower. You flank, get to Building Bravo, neutralize that sniper, take his position. From there, you can cover us while we extract. He paused. And maybe we find evidence in those buildings. Evidence of why they're willing to kill 8 FBI agents and a teenage girl to keep blowback buried. Maya looked at him, really looked, trying to see past the words to the truth underneath, trying to decide if this was another trap or the first real choice she'd had in 6 months. If you betray me, she said, then you shoot me. You're good enough. He extended his hand, not to shake, offering her his backup radio. Maya took it. Channel 7, Daniel said. Encrypted. Don't trust anything on the main channel. Reeves is listening. He stood, winced from the leg wound, looked at her one more time. Your father tried to do the right thing at the end. He just ran out of time. Daniels moved toward the mine entrance. Don't run out of time, Maya. Then he was gone, limping back up the slope toward the sound of men dying. Maya sat alone in the darkness with a rifle and a radio, and the certain knowledge that everyone who said they were protecting her had been lying from the start. She thought about her father's last words, about the files she'd found, about being good at things people shouldn't be good at. And she made a choice. Not the choice her father would have made, not survival first, the choice to find out why she was worth killing. What her father had known that made him dangerous enough to eliminate. The choice to stop being a weapon and start being a person who asked questions. even if the questions got her killed. She checked the Remington 700 backup rifle, lighter than the TAC 338, shorter range but mobile, better for what came next. Then Maya Cross crawled out of the mine and into the snow, moving west toward Building Bravo, where a sniper waited who didn't know she was coming, moving toward answers that people were willing to commit murder to keep buried, moving toward the truth about who her father really was and who she would choose to become. The storm was getting worse, visibility dropping, wind picking up, perfect conditions for a ghost to disappear into, or for a girl to become something more dangerous than anyone expected. The mine tunnel system was worse than the map suggested. Water had carved channels through rock for 30 years, freezing and thawing and freezing again, until the passages looked like something organic. Like the mountain had tried to digest the mine and failed halfway through. Maya moved through darkness with only thermal imaging to guide her. The tunnel branched and rebranched. Some passages ended in cave-ins. Others opened into chambers filled with rusted equipment that looked like instruments of torture in the green glow of her monocular. She followed what used to be a mining cart track. The rails were still there, half buried in sediment. They led west according to her compass, toward Building Bravo, toward the sniper who'd been watching the compound like he knew exactly what was about to happen. Above her, muffled by earth and rock, gunfire continued. Sporadic now, not the sustained firefight from before. Either the team had found cover or they were running out of people to shoot. The tunnel opened into a sub-basement, concrete instead of rock. Cold War construction, probably, when this mining complex had been something other than an execution ground. Stairs led up, half-collapsed, more suggestion than structure. Maya climbed carefully. Each step could be the one that brought the whole thing down. The building groaned around her like something alive and dying. Second floor. Windows blown out decades ago. Snow drifted in through gaps. She could see the compound courtyard below. Voss still there directing his contractors with hand signals. Professional, efficient. A man doing a job he'd done before. Third floor. The sniper position. Maya approached with the Remington raised, expecting traps, expecting anything except what she found. The sniper was there, back to the door, watching the compound through his scope. Young, maybe 25, Middle Eastern features, scar tissue around his left eye like he'd taken shrapnel once and survived poorly. He spoke without turning. "You are Cross' daughter." The accent placed him immediately. Syria, maybe, or Iraq. Somewhere American foreign policy had left scars deeper than the one on his face. Maya kept the rifle on him. "Who are you?" He turned slowly, hands visible, his own rifle slung across his back. Not reaching for it, not threatening, just looking at her with an expression she couldn't read. "My name is Karim. Your father trained me. Syria, 2019. I was 15 years old." The words hit like bullets. Maya's rifle didn't lower. "You're one of them. Blowback." "I was." He stood, movements careful, showing he understood she could kill him before he cleared his weapon. "Your father was good teacher. Best I ever had. He taught me wind reading, holdovers, range estimation. He taught me to shoot." "Then why are you here?" "I am here to kill Randall Voss and everyone connected to Project Blowback." Maya's finger tensed on the trigger. "CIA sent you." Karim laughed. The sound was bitter enough to taste. "CIA number. CIA wants me dead. I am rogue asset. I hunt the hunters." "My father trained you." "Why hunt him?" The expression on Karim's face changed. Rage and pain mixing into something Maya recognized because she'd seen it in her own mirror. The look of someone who'd lost everything and decided to make it mean something. "Your father trained me, yes. 6 months. Taught me everything. I thought he cared." Karim took a step closer. Maya tensed but didn't fire. "Then I tried to leave program. I was 16, tired of killing, wanted to go home to my village." He pulled out a phone with his left hand, right hand still visible and empty. Showed her a photo, aerial strike aftermath, bodies in rubble, buildings reduced to memory. Date stamp in the corner. April 2019. "Your father called an airstrike on my village. Said it was enemy stronghold. It was not. It was farmers. My mother was there, my 2 sisters. 30 people died because I wanted to stop being weapon." Maya's hands shook. "You're lying." "Am I?" Karim's voice was soft now, dangerous soft. "Ask yourself what kind of man trains children to kill. Good man, your father was good at his job. His job was making weapons from children. When weapons malfunction, you dispose of them." He turned the phone toward her again, zoomed in on the wreckage. She could see coordinates in the image metadata. They matched a village in her father's files. A village marked as eliminated on a map she'd seen 3 months ago and tried to forget. I survived because I was not there, Kareem said. When I learned what happened, I deserted. CIA hunted me. I hunted them back. I have killed 4 blowback trainers in 2 years. Voss is number 5. He looked at her with eyes that had seen too much and forgotten nothing. You are bonus. I did not expect cross-daughter here. But you are part of this. Your father's legacy. I'm not part of anything. You are here with rifle your father taught you to use, making shots your father trained you for. You are very much part of this. They stood in the ruins of Building Bravo. 2 children turned into weapons by the same man pointing rifles at each other while snow fell outside and men died below. Then the sound changed. Not gunfire. Something else. Helicopter rotors. They both moved to the window. Careful not to expose themselves. Professional habits die hard. Through the snow, a helicopter materialized like something from a nightmare. Black, unmarked, military profile but no insignia. Door gunner visible, minigun already spinning up. Cleanup crew, Kareem said. They will kill everyone. FBI team, Voss, me, you. How do you know? Because that is what they do. Blowback leaves no witnesses. The helicopter opened fire. The minigun sounded like the world tearing in half. Rounds chewed through Building Alpha where Voss's contractors had taken position. Men scattered. Some didn't get far enough. Then the helicopter pivoted. Toward Building Bravo. Toward them. We leave now or we die, Kareem said. Maya didn't move. I'm not going anywhere with you. The minigun spun up again, aimed at their window. Kareem grabbed Maya's arm and yanked her back just as rounds punched through the wall. The building shuddered. Support structures already weakened by decades of decay couldn't take the added stress. The floor collapsed. They fell through to the second level. Maya hit hard enough to see stars. Rifle skittered away. She crawled toward it as the building groaned like something dying. Kareem was on his feet first, bleeding from somewhere but moving. Truce. Until we survive, then we settle our business. Maya grabbed her rifle, checked it. Still functional. How do I know you won't shoot me in the back? If I wanted you dead, I would have let you stand in that window. The logic was sound, even if the situation wasn't. Maya nodded once. They ran. Building Bravo was dying around them, stairwell crumbling. They took a window exit, dropped 15 feet into snow that barely cushioned the impact. Maya's ankle screamed but held. The helicopter tracked them through thermals. Minigun fire chased them across open ground. Snow erupted in geysers. Maya ran in a pattern her father had taught her, never straight, never predictable. Beside her, Kareem moved the same way. Different teachers, same lessons. They reached Building Charlie, third structure partially underground. Door was locked, steel and old, but solid. Kareem looked at her. Shoot lock. Ricochet could hit us. So could helicopter. Maya aimed carefully. Fired once. Lock shattered. They shoved through the door and descended stairs into darkness as the helicopter passed overhead, searchlight sweeping. The stairs led down and down, deeper than a regular basement. Bunker deep. Emergency lighting flickered on, running on battery backup that should have died 20 years ago, but somehow hadn't. They found themselves in a records room. Not storage, not housing. Records. Filing cabinets lined 3 walls. Computers on a central table, old models, but still powered. Whiteboards covered with names and photos, connected by lines that made Maya's stomach turn. And at the center, a tactical map of the entire operation. Their insertion point, the overwatch position, the compound, all marked with red X's. Every detail planned, every movement anticipated. This wasn't an ambush that went right. This was a plan that went exactly as designed. Maya moved to the nearest filing cabinet, pulled it open. Manila folders thick with documents. Project Blowback. Hundreds of files, trainers, assets, operations, body counts that made her hands shake. She found her father's folder, opened it. Photos of him training teenagers who looked like Kareem, looked like her in some shots, young faces learning to kill. Kareem stood beside her, looking over her shoulder. This is what your father protected. This is what he died for. He tried to expose it, Maya said. That's why they killed him. Maybe. Or maybe he only tried to expose it when his conscience finally broke. After my village. After how many other villages? Maya found an after-action report. Syrian village, airstrike authorization, signed by David Cross. Justification written in his handwriting. Asset attempted desertion. Village harbored enemy combatants. Collateral damage acceptable. The signature was unmistakable. She'd seen it on birthday cards and permission slips and the letter he'd written her when she turned 13. The same signature that had authorized the death of 30 people because a 16-year-old boy wanted to stop killing. "Read it," Kareem said. "Your father's signature." Maya's vision blurred. She blinked hard. He wouldn't. Maybe he was good man who did bad things. Maybe he was bad man who pretended to be good. Does it matter the dead are still dead? The radio on Maya's belt crackled. Daniel's voice strained. "Sierra 7, if you're alive, respond. We're pinned in Building Alpha. Helicopter hit us hard. 3 dead. Jackson, Morrison, Chen. Kowalski wounded. We need support." Maya keyed the radio. "Daniels, this is Sierra 7. I'm in Building Charlie with the sniper from Bravo. Don't shoot if you see 2 people. You're with the enemy sniper. It's complicated. What's status on Voss?" "Dead. Helicopter killed him, along with his contractors. We're the only ones left." Then a different voice cut in. Reeves, cold and final as a coffin lid closing. "All units, this is command. Helicopter is authorized to eliminate all targets. Mission is burned. Cleanup protocol initiated." Daniels disbelieving. "Reeves, we're FBI. You can't. You're witnesses to a classified operation. You've been exposed to blowback material. Under Executive Order 12333 elimination is authorized." Silence on the channel, then Kowalski's voice weak but furious. "Fuck you, Reeves. We're federal agents. You were federal agents. Now you're casualties of a domestic terror incident. Condolences to your families." The transmission ended. Maya looked at Kareem. "We need to get this evidence out. Everything in this room. If we upload it, they can't bury it." "Upload to whose CIA controls everything?" "Not everything." Maya moved to the computers, started checking connections. "There's a DOJ Inspector General investigating blowback. If we can get data to them, plus media, plus anyone who'll listen." She found a folder labeled Contingencies. Opened it. Escape tunnel built during Cold War paranoia, leading 2 miles east. Emergency supplies, communications equipment, and a weapons cache, including a Stinger missile. Kareem read over her shoulder. Smiled that bitter smile. "Your government thinks of everything. Can you use a Stinger?" "Your father taught me." "Of course he did. David Cross Teacher of the Year. Preparing children for every possible way to kill." Maya turned back to the computers. One laptop was still active, screen glowing. She touched the trackpad and files open. Camera feeds, multiple angles of the compound, real-time monitoring. Someone had been watching everything. She scrolled through logs, command interface showing GPS tracking of the FBI team, of her rifle scope, of the contractors, of the helicopter. All monitored, all controlled, and a button labeled Initiate Cleanup Authorization Required. Authorization logged 40 minutes ago. Username not Reeves, admin 06. Deputy Director Special Activities Center, authority level higher than Reeves. Name redacted, but power unmistakable. Reeves wasn't in charge. She was middle management. Someone above her had ordered this. Someone who watched it happen real time like it was a video game. Maya found a chat log, recent messages, admin 06. Status on Sierra 7 Reeves. Still active, resourceful, like her father. Admin 06. Unacceptable. Authorization granted for total sanitization. No survivors. Reeves, including FBI team admin 06, including everyone. Blame domestic terror. Bury it. Timestamp. 20 minutes ago. Maya felt cold that had nothing to do with the bunker temperature. They needed evidence not just of blowback, but of this. The order, the murder of federal agents, the whole rotting structure. She pulled a USB drive from her pocket, habit from her father, always carry backup storage, started downloading everything. Camera feeds, chat logs, authorization records, blowback files, 10 gigabytes of evidence that could end careers and start prosecutions. If it ever reached the right people, the download bar moved with painful slowness, 3 minutes estimated. Kareem watched the door rifle ready. Helicopter circling back. We have maybe 5 minutes. An explosion outside, not gunfire, missile strike. The helicopter was systematically destroying buildings. Building Alpha erupted in flame and smoke. Daniels on radio. Buildings coming down. We're evacuating. Second explosion. Building Bravo, where Maya and Kareem had been minutes ago, collapsed into itself. They are erasing everything, Kareem said. Then we upload now. Maya opened email on the laptop. Satellite uplink still active. Emergency system that couldn't be jammed. She typed quickly. Recipients from her father's files. DOJ Inspector General. Washington Post. New York Times. WikiLeaks. Every journalist her father had flagged as trustworthy or desperate enough to publish. Subject line. Project Blowback. Evidence of murder. Message. If you're reading this, I'm probably dead. My name is Maya Cross. My father was David Cross blowback trainer. This is everything. Make it count. Her finger hovered over send. If you send that, you cannot unsend it, Kareem said. You will be fugitive. CIA will hunt you forever. They're already hunting me. She pressed send, uploading. 10 gigabytes over satellite took time. Progress bar crawled forward. 50%, 60%. Kareem moved to the weapons cache, retrieved the Stinger launcher, loaded it with practice movements. I will buy time. He moved toward the stairs. Maya followed. They reached ground level. The window gave them a view of the compound. Helicopter visible 400 meters out, circling for another strike. Kareem shouldered the launcher. Acquired target, tone lock, missile ready, but he didn't fire. What's wrong? Maya asked. Pilot is probably contractor like me, doing job, not evil, just following orders. Orders to kill us. Still, he has family maybe, children. Maya looked at him. This man who'd killed 4 people in 2 years, who'd tracked blowback trainers across continents, who had every reason to hate everyone connected to the program, and he was hesitating because the pilot might have children? Then don't aim for cockpit, she said. Aim for tail rotor. Kareem looked at her. Your father taught you this. He taught me machines have weak points. People don't have to die if you're precise. Something changed in Kareem's expression. The rage softened slightly. Maybe your father had some good in him after all. He adjusted aim, fired. The missile streaked across open space. The pilot saw launch, tried to evade. Skilled flying, almost enough. The missile hit tail rotor, not cockpit, not crew compartment. Just the machinery that kept the helicopter under control. It spun, descended fast but not catastrophically. Hard landing 200 meters away, crumpled but not destroyed. Maya watched through her scope as the pilot climbed out, limping, bleeding, but alive. Kareem lowered the launcher. He will call for backup. Backup will take time. Upload is almost done. Progress bar, 97%. 98. New sound, vehicle engines, multiple. Black SUVs arrived like they'd been waiting nearby. 8 vehicles. Contractors poured out, professional, armed, moving toward the compound. We need to leave, Kareem said. Now. 99%. Upload complete. Confirmation emails sent to all addresses. Files in the cloud now. Impossible to delete without leaving traces. Done. Maya grabbed the laptop, yanked out the hard drive. Physical evidence, too. Let's move. The tunnel. They ran through darkness with only emergency lights to guide them. Behind them, explosions as Building Charlie was demolished. All physical evidence destroyed. But the digital ghost was already out. Already spreading. Already impossible to contain. 2 miles through claustrophobic passages. Water dripping, air stale, voices behind them. Contractors in the tunnel, hunting. Maya ran until her lungs burned, ankle throbbing, rifle heavy. Kareem beside her, also limping, also bleeding, also refusing to stop. The tunnel exit emerged into a forest ravine. Dawn breaking through storm clouds. Snow stopped, temperature dropping into the range where exposed skin freezes in minutes. They burst out into weak daylight. Fresh air felt like knives. Kareem turned to her. This is where we part. Wait, Maya caught her breath. You said we'd settle our business, you and me. Kareem looked at her. Rifle in his hands. Could shoot her right now. Should shoot her by his own logic. She was her father's daughter. Part of the legacy. Part of the crime. Yes, he said. I did say that. Moment of tension. Maya didn't raise her weapon. If he was going to kill her, fighting wouldn't help. And part of her wasn't sure he was wrong. Then Kareem slung his rifle. But I think maybe you are not your father. You chose not to kill helicopter pilot. You chose to expose blowback even though it puts target on your back. Your father would have protected himself first. How do you know? Because that is what he taught me. Survive first, mission second, conscience last. He extended his hand. You put conscience first. That is difference. Maya shook his hand. His grip was strong, firm, the handshake of equals who'd survived something together. If we meet again, maybe we meet as allies, Kareem said. Not as ghosts of same dead man. He left, north into the trees, moving fast despite injuries. In seconds, he was gone like he'd never existed. Maya stood alone in the ravine. Radio crackled. Daniels. Sierra 7, we've got movement. Federal marshals inbound. Multiple vehicles. We're about to be arrested or killed, can't tell which. Maya keyed the radio. I'm coming. She ran south. The rally point was supposed to be their exfil location, clear ground where the helicopter could land. Now it was something else, a crime scene waiting to happen. Maya found them surrounded. Daniels Kowalski with a tourniquet on his leg, Rodriguez Patterson, 4 survivors out of 8, looking exhausted, looking done, and 6 U.S. Marshals with rifles raised. The lead marshal was older, 50s, face like weathered leather, eyes that had seen too much and stopped being surprised. Name tape read Hendricks. "Drop your weapons," he said. "All of you, you're under arrest." Kowalski's voice was raw. "On what charge? Domestic terrorism, destruction of federal property, murder of CIA personnel, conspiracy against the United States." The official story, already written, already delivered. Daniels tried. "This is insane. We're FBI. You were FBI. Now you're suspects in a terror incident that's killed 11 people." Rodriguez. 11. We only. 4 contractors, 1 CIA officer, 6 civilians in nearby town who got caught in explosion radius. Hendricks' voice was flat, professional, but something underneath. Doubt maybe, or disgust. "That's the story. That's what I was told when I got mobilized at 0300. Maya stepped into the clearing. All rifles swung toward her. 10 men with guns pointing at a 16-year-old girl covered in snow and blood that wasn't all hers. Hendricks looked at her. "And you must be the girl. Maya Cross, 16 years old. File says you went rogue, killed. Your handler tried to kill the FBI team sent to apprehend you. That's not what happened. Doesn't matter what happened. Matters what I was briefed." But his voice. That doubt was real. Maya heard it. Kowalski heard it. "You don't believe it," Kowalski said. Hendricks lowered his rifle slightly. Just slightly. "I believe I got woken up in the middle of the night, told national security emergency, given coordinates and kill order. I believe that's unusual for witness apprehension. I believe something's not right about this whole situation." Daniels took a step forward. "Because we're not witnesses. We're loose ends. Standoff. 10 armed men trying to decide if they were about to commit murder or enforce the law." Maya could see the calculation in Hendricks' eyes, could see him trying to figure out which version of the story made more sense. Then gunshot. Hendricks went down. Body armor caught the round, but the impact dropped him. Reeves stepped from the tree line. She looked like something from a horror movie. Half her face burned from building collapse. Clothes torn. Bloody. But armed and moving with the kind of focus that comes from having nothing left to lose. She fired again. Hit Marshal Chen. He dropped not dead, but hurt. The other marshals returned fire. Rounds snapped past Reeves. She ducked behind a tree, kept shooting. Not aimed fire, just suppression, just chaos. Maya ran. Daniels followed. Reeves pursued. Personal now. Mission failed. Career over. Life probably over. But she could still eliminate the one loose end that mattered. The girl who knew too much. The girl who'd sent the files. The girl who'd ruined everything. They ran through forest. Trees sparse here. Not enough cover. Behind them, Reeves relentless despite injuries. Ahead, the sound of running water. They reached a cliff edge. 200 feet down to a frozen river. Dead end. Literally, they turned. Reeves approached, limping but steady, gun raised. One side of her face was red and blistered. The other side was perfectly composed, professional to the end. "You should have stayed in your cage, Maya," she said. "Safe, alive, ignorant. You killed my father. Your father was going to destroy everything we built. Project Blowback stopped 3 major terror attacks, saved hundreds of American lives. Your father was going to sacrifice all that for his conscience." Daniels stepped between them. "By training child soldiers, by calling airstrikes on villages. Collateral damage in service of greater good. Your father understood that once. Then he got soft." Maya's voice was steady despite everything. "He got human. Same thing." Reeves aimed at Maya. "And look where it got him." Daniels moved to block this shot. "You want her, you go through me." "Gladly." She shot Daniels, center mass. He went down hard. Maya screamed, dropped beside him, blood spreading across his chest. He looked up at her, tried to speak. Only blood came out. "Touching," Reeves said. "Now your turn." Maya stood, faced Reeves. No weapon, no plan, just rage and grief and the certain knowledge that she was about to die on a cliff edge in West Virginia because she'd asked too many questions. "Any last words?" Reeves asked. "Your father begged, said tell Maya I'm sorry." Pathetic. Maya's hand moved to her chest pocket, where her father's mirror used to be, except she'd left it in Building Bravo. Let it fall when the floor collapsed. Symbolic, she'd thought, letting go of his tools. Stupid. Tools keep you alive. Reeves saw the movement. Don't! You're not faster than a bullet! But Maya wasn't reaching for a weapon. She was reaching for the USB drive Kareem had given her. Copy of the files, insurance. She held it up. You want this? What? Evidence, everything. I kept a copy. She held it out over the cliff edge. You shoot me, I drop it. 200 feet down onto ice. Flash drive shatters. Evidence lost. It was a bluff. The files were already uploaded, already in the hands of journalists and investigators, already impossible to contain. But Reeves didn't know that. Give it to me, Reeves said. Let Daniels live. Get him a medic. Then I'll give it to you. You're not in a position to negotiate. I'm in the only position that matters. I have what you want. Reeves's face twisted, pain and rage and the realization that she'd lost. Even if she killed Maya now, the evidence was out there. The files were spreading. The careful structure of lies was collapsing. But she could still have revenge. She raised the gun. Not at Maya, at Daniels. Then watch him die. Gunshot. Not from Reeves's weapon. From behind her. She staggered, shoulder hit, spun around. Kareem stood at the tree line, rifle raised. I changed my mind about going north, he said. Reeves fired at him, missed, tried to adjust aim. More figures emerged from trees. Marshals. Hendricks and two others' body armor having saved them. They'd followed the sound of shooting. Hendricks' voice like iron. Drop the weapon, ma'am. This ends now. Reeves laughed. Manic sound. You don't understand. This doesn't end. Blowback doesn't end. You're all dead, you just don't know it yet. They'll send more. They'll kill everyone. They'll bury this so deep. Hendricks shot her. Leg shot. Professional disabling fire. Reeves fell. Marshals moved in. Secured her. Secured the scene. Called for medical evacuation. Maya knelt beside Daniels. Medic was already working on him. Chest seal, pressure, IV line. He'll live, the medic said, but he needs hospital, now. Daniels looked at Maya, tried to smile, failed. Did you send the files? Yes, everyone has them now. Good. His voice was barely audible. Make it mean something. Kareem approached Maya as the marshals loaded Daniels onto a stretcher. You let the mirror fall, he said. I don't need it anymore. He handed her something. USB drive. Copy of files, in case they bury yours. Hide it. Insurance. Then he was gone. Back into the forest. Before the marshals could get a clear look at his face. Before anyone could ask questions about the sniper who wasn't supposed to exist. Hendricks approached Maya. You'll need to come with us. Protective custody until we sort this out. What about Reeves? She'll be treated and arrested. Attempted murder of federal agents, that much is clear. He paused. The rest, the blowback stuff, that's above my pay grade, but I'll make sure the right people hear about it. Maya wanted to believe him, wanted to think that justice worked, that truth mattered, that exposing corruption actually changed things. But she'd seen her father's signature on that airstrike authorization, had heard Reeves calmly order their execution, had watched the system protect itself with lies and bullets in burning buildings. She nodded anyway. Because what else could she do? They put her in a Marshall SUV, warm air, clean seats, radio chatter coordinating extraction. Daniels was being airlifted to hospital. Kowalski and the surviving FBI agents were being debriefed. Reeves was in custody. Everything neat. Everything contained. Except for 10 gigabytes of files spreading across the internet. Except for journalists opening emails. Except for the truth becoming impossible to hide. Maya closed her eyes, exhausted beyond measure. Every muscle ached. Her ankle was probably fractured. She had cuts and bruises she didn't remember getting. But she was alive. Her father was still dead. The people he'd trained were still out there. The villages he'd helped destroy were still ruins. Nothing was fixed. Nothing was resolved. But the truth was out. That had to count for something. It had to. The SUV drove through snow and forest, taking her away from the mountain, where everything had gone wrong toward whatever came next. She didn't know it yet, but what came next was worse than anything she could have imagined. Because the truth doesn't always set you free. Sometimes the truth just paints a target on your back that never goes away. Sometimes the truth just shows you how deep the lies go. And sometimes the truth shows you that the people who should protect you are the ones you should fear most. 2 weeks later, Maya would understand this. 2 weeks later, she would watch the news and see her evidence called Russian disinformation. 2 weeks later, she would learn that surviving isn't the same as winning. But right now in the SUV, warm and exhausted and alive, she let herself believe that maybe possibly things might be okay. It was a nice feeling. It lasted almost an hour. The news broke 3 days after the mountain. Maya sat in a foster home in Virginia watching cable news with a social worker named Patricia, who kept asking if she wanted to talk about her feelings. The television showed footage of the Appalachian compound, drone shots of collapsed buildings, reporters standing in snow, serious face, serious voice. Federal authorities have confirmed that a domestic terror incident in rural West Virginia resulted in multiple casualties, including one CIA officer and several contractors. The FBI is investigating possible links to anti-government militia groups. No mention of Project Blowback. No mention of the files Maya had sent to a dozen news organizations. No mention of anything true. Patricia muted the television. You should rest. The doctor said you need to keep that ankle elevated. Maya's ankle was wrapped and splinted. Hairline fracture. 2 weeks in a walking boot. Small price for surviving. I'm fine, Maya said, which was what she'd been saying for 3 days, which was the biggest lie she'd told yet. Patricia left her alone. The foster home was comfortable, clean sheets, good food. Other kids her age, though, they left her alone after the first awkward attempts at conversation. Hard to make friends when you can't talk about where you've been or what you've done. Her phone buzzed. Text from Daniels. He was still in hospital recovering from surgery. The bullet had missed his heart by inches, collapsed, a lung cracked, 2 ribs. He'd be okay, eventually. The text read, turn on channel 7. Maya unmuted the television, changed channels. Different reporter. Same compound. But this time the story was different. Intelligence sources say the leaked documents allegedly exposing a CIA program called Project Blowback are sophisticated forgeries, likely part of a Russian disinformation campaign. Experts have analyzed the files and found multiple indicators of digital manipulation. Maya's hands went numb. The teenager who leaked these documents, Maya Cross, is reportedly undergoing psychiatric evaluation. Sources close to the investigation say she may have been radicalized online and suffers from delusions related to her father's death. The screen showed her face. School photo from 2 years ago. Smiling. Happy. Nothing like who she was now. Authorities stress that while the West Virginia incident was tragic, there is no evidence of the vast conspiracy alleged in the forged documents. The investigation continues. Maya dropped the phone. They'd done it. Somehow, they'd taken 10 gigabytes of evidence and made it disappear. Not by deleting it, by discrediting it, by making anyone who believed it sound crazy. Her phone rang. Daniels, she answered. You saw, he said. His voice was weak, hoarse from the breathing tube they'd removed yesterday. How? I don't know, but I've been making calls. Every journalist I sent files to, they're all getting the same story. Intelligence experts saying it's fake. Pressure from above to kill the investigation. The Washington Post is running a retraction tomorrow. Maya couldn't breathe. We had proof. Proof can be contextualized, discredited, buried under expert testimony and national security concerns. He coughed, pain clear in the sound. I'm sorry, Maya. I thought if we just got the truth out there. What about Reeves? She's in custody. She can testify. Reeves got an immunity deal this morning. Testified in closed session, then disappeared into witness protection with a new identity. And Voss, officially dead, body recovered from Building Alpha, dental records confirmed, case closed. Maya stared at the television, at her own face looking back at her, at the word allegedly in the chyron below. So we lost, she said. We survived. That's not nothing, but it felt like nothing. It felt like everything they'd done, everyone who died, all of it, had been erased as efficiently as if it had never happened. I have to go, Daniel said. Doctor's coming back. But Maya, be careful. They're saying you're mentally unstable. That gives them cover if something happens to you. He hung up. Maya sat in the comfortable foster home with her fractured ankle and her shattered certainty that truth mattered, and she understood something her father had probably learned too late. The system doesn't lose. It absorbs. It adapts. It survives. And people who fight it don't win. They just become cautionary tales. The days blended together. Therapy sessions with a psychologist who asked careful questions about her father, about her beliefs, about whether she'd ever felt disconnected from reality. School enrollment in a local high school under her new identity. Sarah Mitchell, junior year, fresh start. Burke and Martinez, the security contractors from before, were gone, replaced by different faces but same function. Watching, always watching. 1 week after the mountain mail arrived. Foster parent brought it to her room, no return address, inside a photograph. Kareem with a young woman at a cafe. Different than anything Maya had seen before. They looked happy, normal, like people instead of weapons. The note was brief. They came for me in Ankara. I had to run again. Sister is safe relocated with new identity. But I cannot stop running. You chose not to kill when you could have. I am trying to learn this. It is hard. Being weapon is easier than being person. They will come for you too. Not today. Maybe not this year. But they will come because you know, and knowledge is threat. Trust no one. Stay ready. Also in the envelope, something that made Maya's breath catch. Her father's mirror. The note attached said, "Found this at Cliff Base. Thought you might want it back. Not as tool, as reminder. Your father was flawed man, but you are not him. You chose different path. Mirror shows who you are, not who he was." Maya held the mirror, scratched, bent, somehow still intact after a 200-foot fall. She looked at her reflection, 16 years old, tired, changed, but alive. Not a weapon, a person. She looked deeper, through the reflection. Out the window behind her. Black SUV across the street. Burke and Martinez, or whoever they were now watching the house. She was still in protective custody, still being monitored. The cage had just changed locations. 2 weeks after the mountain Maya started school. Chemistry class. Teacher talking about molecular bonds. Maya took notes, tried to focus, tried to be normal. Her phone buzzed under her desk. Text from unknown number. "Weather looks clear. Good day for camping. You interested?" Code. She recognized the pattern now. Not Daniels, not Kareem. Someone new. She texted back. "Who is this?" Response came immediately. "Friend of your father. He would want you safe. We can arrange that, but we need your help with small matter first." Maya deleted the messages. They kept coming. Different numbers, different offers. Always the same underlying message. "Work for us. Use your skills. Be what your father trained you to be." The CIA hadn't given up. They were just being more subtle. Not forcing her into missions, persuading her, offering her purpose, offering her belonging, offering her everything except freedom. A classmate leaned over. Emily. Friendly. Normal. "Hey, you okay? You look stressed." Maya forced a smile. "I'm fine." "You sure you seem like you're always somewhere else? Just thinking about college applications." The lie came easily now. She'd had practice. What she was really thinking about was escape routes from the classroom, cover positions if shooting started, sight lines to the parking lot where contractors waited, whether the windows were reinforced, whether the door locked from inside. She was thinking like an operator. Couldn't turn it off. Didn't know if she wanted to. "Maya," the teacher's voice cut through her thoughts. "Can you answer the question?" "Sorry, what was the question?" "The electron configuration of iron." Maya answered correctly without thinking. One part of her brain on chemistry, another part calculating the range to the SUV outside, a third part wondering if she'd ever feel safe again. After class, she walked to the bathroom. Alone moment. Rare moment. She looked in the mirror above the sink, saw her father's eyes looking back. Same color, same shape, same intensity. She whispered, "I'm not you, I'm not you, I'm not you." But was that true? She'd made different choices. Let the weapon fall, expose the truth. Chosen conscience over survival. And what had changed, she was still caged. Her father's sins still defined her. The system still owned her. Maybe Kareem was right. Being a weapon was easier than being a person. Weapons had purpose. People just had pain. She left the bathroom. Daniels was waiting in the hallway. He looked better. Still pale, still moving carefully, but out of the hospital. Back to work, apparently. Back to pretending everything was normal. "We need to talk," he said. Maya glanced at the classroom. "I'm late for class." "This is more important?" He nodded toward the exit. "Walk with me." They went outside. Cold day. Early spring that felt like late winter. Students scattered across the lawn enjoying freedom that Maya no longer believed in. Daniels led her away from the building toward the athletic fields where no one could overhear. "DOJ Inspector General wants to meet," he said. "Unofficially. Says he believes us. Says he has protection to offer if you'll testify again. Properly this time." Maya stopped walking. "Last time I testified, nothing happened. This time might be different. Or it might be another trap." Daniels looked at her with an expression she couldn't read. Pity, maybe. Or respect. Or both. "Maybe," he admitted. "But what's the alternative? Give up." Maya thought about her father. About the last phone call. About his signature on that airstrike authorization. About 30 people dead because a 16-year-old boy wanted to stop being a weapon. "What do you think my father would do?" she asked. "I think your father would calculate the odds and protect himself first." "And what should I do?" Daniels considered the question seriously. I think you should do what you've been doing. Choose to be better than him. The bell rang. Students flooded back into the building. Maya stood in the cold with a man who'd taken a bullet meant for her, trying to decide if she had any fight left. When? She asked. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., Federal Building, downtown. I'll pick you up. Daniels. Yeah. Do you think it matters anything we do? Long pause. He looked at the school building, at the students who had no idea what the world really was, at the sky that was gray and promised more cold. I think we have to act like it does, he said finally, because the alternative is giving up. And your father gave up once, stopped fighting, went along with the system. That's when he became what he hated. You haven't given up yet. I'm tired of fighting. I know, me too. But we're still here. That means something. He left her there, limped back to his car, still recovering, still refusing to quit. Maya watched him go, then she went back to class, sat through history and English and lunch where she ate alone. Normal day in a normal school for a girl who would never be normal again. That evening, she sat in her foster homeroom, did her homework, trigonometry problems that had clear answers, unlike everything else in her life. Her hand kept drifting to her father's mirror on the desk. She picked it up, studied it, scratched, bent, broken in ways that didn't stop it from working. Like her, maybe. Outside the window, snow fell again. First snow in 2 weeks. Light dusting that wouldn't stick. She didn't flinch at the sight of it anymore. Didn't think about the mountain. Didn't see blood in the white. But she didn't relax either. Her phone rang. Daniels. Inspector General meeting is confirmed for tomorrow, 2 p.m. Do I tell him you'll be there? Maya looked at the mirror, at her reflection, at her father's eyes that were also her eyes. Long silence. I'll be there, she said finally. Good. I'll pick you up at 1:30. Daniels. Yeah. Do you think my father knew at the end that he'd become what he hated? Pause. Then, I think he knew. That's why he tried to stop it. He just ran out of time. I don't want to run out of time. Then don't. Make different choices. That's all any of us can do. After the call ended, Maya opened her journal, the one the therapist had suggested she keep. Processing trauma, she'd said. Finding clarity. Maya wrote, Day 47 of new life. They're still watching. They'll always be watching. Father taught me to shoot. System taught me I'm still a weapon, but I taught myself to choose. Maybe that's all I have. Maybe that's enough. She closed the journal. Put the mirror in the desk drawer. Not throwing it away. Not using it either. It was there if she needed it, but for now she chose to look forward. The next afternoon, Daniels picked her up in an unmarked sedan. No contractors followed. Either they'd been told to stand down, or they were being subtle. The drive to downtown took 40 minutes. Neither of them spoke much. What was there to say? They both knew this was probably futile, but they were doing it anyway because the alternative was accepting defeat. The federal building was gray concrete and glass, anonymous, bureaucratic, the kind of place where careers ended and investigations died. Daniels led her through security, metal detectors, ID checks, visitor badges, everything official and documented, everything by the book. They took an elevator to the 8th floor, walked down a hallway that smelled like industrial cleaner and old carpet, stopped at an office with frosted glass doors. DOJ Inspector General. The name on the door was Marcus Webb. Daniels knocked. A voice from inside told them to enter. Webb's office was small, cluttered with files and law books. The man behind the desk was black 50s with gray at his temples and eyes that looked like they'd seen too many lies. Miss Cross, he said. Agent Daniels, thank you for coming. He gestured to chairs. Please sit. They sat. Webb studied Maya for a long moment. Not hostile, evaluating. I've read the files you sent, he said. All of them. And I've read the intelligence community's assessment that they're forgeries. Maya's stomach dropped. But, Webb continued, I've also been investigating Project Blowback peripherally for 18 months. Ever since a Delta Force operator came to me with concerns about training programs that didn't match official records. He pulled out a file, opened it. Inside were documents Maya recognized. Some from her father's files, others new. Your father was that operator, Webb said. David Cross. He came to me 13 months ago, said he wanted to blow the whistle on illegal training operations, said he had evidence. Maya couldn't breathe. He came to you. Yes, we had 3 meetings. He was careful, paranoid even, said he thought his phone was tapped, his email monitored. He gave me copies of documents, names of assets, Locations of operations. What happened? Webb's expression darkened. He missed our fourth meeting. 2 days later, I learned he'd died in Afghanistan. Taliban ambush, they said. I tried to investigate further. Got shut down, told it was classified, told to drop it. But you didn't. No, because I'd seen enough of his evidence to know he was telling the truth. And because a man who risks his career and his life to expose corruption deserves better than being forgotten. He looked at Maya with something like respect. Your files corroborated everything your father told me and added new information. The kill orders, the domestic cleanup operations, the systematic elimination of witnesses. Then why did the news say they were fake? Because the intelligence community has resources I don't. They can pressure media, discredit sources, make inconvenient truths disappear. Webb leaned forward. But they can't stop a formal DOJ investigation. Not if I have enough evidence and enough political cover to launch it. What are you saying? I'm saying I want you to testify, formally, on the record, in front of a grand jury, about what you saw, what you experienced, what your father told you. Daniels spoke up. What kind of protection can you offer her? Witness protection. Real protection. Not CIA protective custody. Not a foster home with contractors watching. I mean new identity, new location, federal marshals you can trust. Maya looked at him. Why should I trust you? Because I'm the only one asking you to tell the truth instead of asking you to stay quiet. Webb's voice was gentle. And because your father trusted me, that has to count for something. It did count. But Maya had learned that trust was currency that bought betrayal more often than safety. If I testify, what happens? If the grand jury indicts, we prosecute. Conspiracy, murder, obstruction, civil rights violations, we go after everyone involved, from the ground level to whoever authorized this at the Pentagon. And if the grand jury doesn't indict, then at least the truth is on the record. Sealed but on the record. Insurance against future operations. And you get witness protection either way. Maya thought about the texts she'd been getting. The offers, the pressure, the slow tightening of a cage that looked like freedom. How long do I have to decide? Grand jury convenes in 1 week. I need your answer by Friday. 3 days. I'll think about it, Maya said. They left the federal building. Daniels drove her back toward the foster home. Halfway there, he pulled into a parking lot, stopped the car. What are you going to do? He asked. I don't know. Maya, I took a bullet for you. I'm not saying you owe me, but I am saying I believe in this. I believe we can win. Believing doesn't make it true. No, but giving up makes it impossible. He drove her the rest of the way in silence. That evening, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about her father, about the phone call, about his signature on documents, about him going to the inspector general trying to do the right thing, getting killed for it. She thought about Kareem, running forever. Sister relocated, never safe, never home. She thought about the 30 people in that Syrian village, about her father calling in the strike, about children learning to kill because adults decided they were expendable. She thought about who she was and who she wanted to be. At 3 in the morning, she made her decision. Friday came. Maya called Daniels. I'll do it, she said. I'll testify. The grand jury hearing was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Webb arranged for marshal protection starting Monday. Real protection this time. Not contractors, not CIA, federal marshals with no connection to the intelligence community. Monday morning, 2 marshals arrived at the foster home, Marshal Hendricks, who Maya recognized from the mountain, and Marshal Chen, who'd been wounded by Reeves. Ready? Hendricks asked. Maya packed her bag, few clothes, the journal, her father's mirror. Nothing else mattered. She said goodbye to Patricia, the social worker who'd tried so hard to help. Said goodbye to the other foster kids who'd never known who she really was. Said goodbye to the comfortable cage. The marshals drove her to a safe house outside the city. Real safe house this time. Secure location. Armed guards. Everything Webb had promised. Daniels was there. And someone else, Kareem. Maya stopped in the doorway. How? Webb found me, Kareem said. Or I found him. Does not matter. He says I can testify too, as asset who was trained by blowback program, as victim of airstrike your father authorized. Will you? Kareem looked at her. I spent 2 years killing people I thought were responsible. It did not bring my family back. Did not make me feel better. Maybe telling truth will not work either. But at least it does not make me murderer. They spent 2 days preparing testimony. Webb coached them, explained how grand juries work, what questions they'd be asked. What evidence would be presented? The key, Webb said, is consistency. Tell the truth. Don't embellish. Don't guess. If you don't know something, say so. What about protection after, Maya asked. If we testify, we're targets forever. Witness protection program. New identities. New locations. You'd never see each other again. Never contact your old lives, but you'd be alive. And if the grand jury doesn't indict, Webb's expression said everything, then you disappear anyway, because the alternative is worse. Tuesday morning arrived too fast and too slow. They drove to the federal courthouse in an armored SUV, 3 marshal vehicles as escort. Overkill maybe, or maybe not given what they were up against. The courthouse was old, stone and marble and the weight of history. Maya walked through metal detectors, past armed guards upstairs, worn smooth by generations of feet. The grand jury room was smaller than she expected, 23 citizens sitting in rows. Regular people called to decide if crimes had been committed. Webb presented evidence first. Documents, photos, audio recordings, the chat logs from the compound showing kill orders, forensic analysis proving that they were authentic. Then Maya testified. She told them everything. Her father's phone call, the files she'd found, the safe house that was a prison, the mission that was an execution, Reeves ordering their deaths, the evidence she'd sent that got buried. She spoke for 2 hours, answered questions, stayed calm, told the truth. When she was done, Kareem testified. His story, his village, his family, the training, the betrayal, then Daniels, his investigation, his suspicions, his 2 years waiting for proof. Then Kowalski and the surviving FBI agents, their testimony about the ambush, about Reeves's orders, about contractors instead of militia. Then Webb presented the final piece. Audio recording from the compound, recovered from the bunker before it was destroyed. Admin 06 ordering total sanitization. Deputy Director at CIA. The voice was clear, undeniable. Ordering the death of federal agents. The grand jury deliberated for 3 hours. Maya waited in a conference room with Daniels and Kareem and the marshals. Nobody spoke. What was there to say? Finally, Webb returned. His face told them everything before he spoke. They indicted, he said. All charges, conspiracy, murder, civil rights violations, obstruction. They're issuing arrest warrants now. Maya felt something break inside her. Not breaking apart, breaking open. We won, she asked. We won the first round, Webb said. Now comes the hard part. Go to war. Trial, conviction, keeping you alive long enough to see it through. But for now, in this moment, they'd won. The truth was on the record. Official, undeniable. People were going to be held accountable. It wasn't enough. Nothing could bring back the dead. Nothing could undo the damage. But it was something. Daniels hugged her, careful of his healing ribs. You did it. Your father would be proud. Maya wasn't sure about that. Her father had done terrible things, but he'd also tried to stop them at the end. He tried to expose the truth and paid with his life. Maybe that was what mattered. Not what you were, but what you chose to become. The marshals took them back to the safe house. Celebrations were brief. Tomorrow they'd start the process of disappearing into witness protection. New names, new cities, new lives built on the graves of the old ones. That evening, Maya sat alone in her room. Last night in this identity, tomorrow she'd become someone else. Sarah Mitchell would cease to exist. Maya Cross would be filed away with the other casualties. She pulled out her father's mirror, looked at her reflection one last time as herself. I'm not you, she whispered, but I'm not you either. I'm something new, something you never got to be. She wrapped the mirror carefully, wrote a note, donated to the Smithsonian Museum Military History Collection, belonged to David Cross Project Blowback Instructor. Evidence of what we were, reminder of what we shouldn't become. She'd mail it tomorrow before she disappeared. Keeping it felt like keeping the past, and she was done with the past. A knock at the door. Kareem. May I come in? Yeah. He entered, sat on the edge of the bed. They'd barely spoken since the courthouse. Too much history, too much pain. Where will you go? He asked. After protection program. I don't know. Somewhere quiet, somewhere I can forget. You will not forget. None of us will forget. No, but maybe I can learn to live with it. Kareem nodded. I am sorry about your father, about hating you. You are not him. I'm sorry too, about your family, about what he did. He was complicated, man, good and bad, like all of us. Kareem stood. Maybe that is lesson. We are not just what we do. We are also what we choose to stop doing. He left. Maya sat alone with her father's mirror and the weight of everything that had happened. She thought about writing in her journal. Last entry as Maya Cross. Instead, she just sat, breathing, being, alive. That was enough. 2 months later, in a city she couldn't name and a house she didn't own, living under a name that wasn't hers, Maya started college. International relations major. Maybe she could understand the world better. Maybe she could help prevent the next project blowback. Or maybe she was just a girl trying to build a life from the wreckage. She'd made one friend, roommate named Jessica, who talked too much about her boyfriend and not enough about her classes. Normal friend, normal problems, normal life. One day mail arrived, no return address, inside a newspaper clipping, New York Times, 3 weeks old. Former CIA deputy director arrested in connection with illegal training program. Below that smaller article, Project Blowback trial set for September. Key witnesses in protection, and smaller still almost hidden. David Cross posthumously cleared of wrongdoing. Investigation finds evidence of coercion and attempts to expose program before death. Her father's name, cleared. Not a villain, not a hero. Just a man who'd done wrong things and tried to make them right. Also in the envelope, a note from Kareem. I am in school too, engineering. My sister is safe and happy. I think of my family every day. I think of your father too. He trained me to kill, but he also taught me discipline and precision and how to survive. Maybe that is worth something. Maybe not. I am still deciding. Be well, Maya, who is not Maya. Be safe. K. She put the articles in a drawer, closed it, closed that chapter. Her phone buzzed. Jessica wanting to know if she was coming to dinner. Yeah, Maya texted back. Be there in 5. She looked around the small dorm room. Textbooks on the desk, posters on the wall, normal college girl things. No rifle, no tactical gear, no mirror, just a life. Not the life she'd planned. Not the life her father had trained her for, but a life that was hers. Chosen, earned. She grabbed her jacket and headed out. As she walked across campus past students who had no idea what the world really was, past buildings full of people learning and growing and becoming, she felt something she hadn't felt in months. Not happiness exactly, not peace, but maybe the beginning of both. Her father had taught her to shoot. The system had tried to teach her she was a weapon, but she'd taught herself something more important. She'd taught herself to choose. Every day she chose. To go to class instead of disappearing. To make friends instead of staying isolated. To build instead of destroy. To live instead of just survive. That was what remained. Not the shooting, not the killing, not the fear, just the choice. And as she walked through fallen leaves toward the dining hall, toward her friend, toward her normal, boring, beautiful life, Maya Cross, who wasn't Maya Cross anymore, made another choice. She chose to let it be enough. The story her father started with a drunken phone call that led to mountains and blood and betrayal and truth. That story was over. This story, her story, the one where she decided who she would become, was just beginning. And for the first time in a year that felt like a future worth living. The end came not with gunfire or explosions or dramatic confessions. It came with dinner in a dining hall with a friend who knew nothing about her past. It came with laughter over bad cafeteria food. It came with homework and classes and all the mundane details of a life that wasn't about violence. And somewhere in a drawer in a dorm room, a newspaper clipping announced that justice, imperfect and incomplete, had been done. Somewhere a young man studied engineering and remembered his family. Somewhere a mirror set in a museum evidence of what humans could become when they forgot to be human. And somewhere a girl who'd been trained to be a weapon chose instead to be a person. That was the inheritance that mattered. Not the skill, not the violence, not the legacy of death. Just the choice. Always the choice.